guess this offense isn't going to change much. Nick Foles, new quarterback draw, same thing that Mike Vick would have ran. Had the Bucs on their heels, expecting to throw the ball in the end zone.
All right, well, as we just saw, Nick Foles certainly has a little bit of history with playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. Career with the Eagles, he's 2-0 versus Tampa, as you saw. A game-winning touchdown pass in his rookie season to Jeremy Maclin. At the time, that game ended a long losing skid for the Eagles. I remember that game. And then, of course, that was in 2012 and 2013. The Eagles went back to Tampa, and Nick Foles, had a nice game there. I believe he threw like 3 touchdown passes, 2 of them to the current Buccaneer, Deshaun Jackson, the other one to Riley Cooper. And he also ran for a touchdown, as you saw. That touchdown actually started the scoring of the game. The Eagles went on the win. That was during that was the Chip Kelly years. I believe that was Chip's first season with the Eagles. It's either his first or second. I forgot. That 2013. I'm pretty sure that was Chip's first season with the Eagles, and that was the season before I started doing my season of the fan series. But so Nick has had some history in Tampa. He's had some wins against Tampa. Of course, this was back then. This is now, and of course, why are we talking about Tampa Bay? Because that is this week's opponent. The Eagles will play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. Week 2 action. First road game of the season. A 1 o'clock Eastern time start on Sunday. Looking forward to it. Listen, going into this week, we certainly didn't expect Tampa to do what they did this past Sunday against the Saints. Of course, Tampa Bay beats the Saints 48-40 in a Madden type game, shootout in the Superdome. And look, Ryan Fitzpatrick played well, and you give him credit. I know he's kind of holding the spot there at quarterback until Jameis Winston comes back from the suspension. But he had himself a game. I mean, 21 for 28, 417 yards, 4 touchdowns. He ran for a touchdown. I mean, that's impressive. Mike Evans, 7 catches, 147 yards and a score. Deshaun Jackson, our old friend, 5 catches, 2 for touchdown, and 146 yards. The running game, okay, 19 carries, 69 yards for Peyton Barber. And I would imagine that you'll see those kind of numbers again this week, and the Eagles are very good against the run. But you got to control the air game. And one of the ways you can control the passing attack for Tampa is to get pressure on the quarterback, something the Saints couldn't do last week. The Eagles, with all due respect to the Saints, defense, have a better pass rush than the Saints. They have a better defensive line. Maybe the schemes are a little different, the blitzing schemes. This is a team that doesn't blitz that much. They're not a very blitz-happy type of team. Although on that last possession for Atlanta, when Atlanta was going, driving down the field, at the end there when they got in the red zone, the Eagles put together some blitzes, some zero blitzes, and got pressure on Ryan and, helped get that victory at the end. So Jim Schwartz is not a defensive coordinator that likes to blitz overly often, as we remember those years ago from the other defensive coordinator named Jim Johnson here, years ago, where they were just, very blitz happy. And it's a different mentality. Obviously, it's a different group. The fact that the secondary is very good. I know they gave up yards and catches to Julio Jones, but it's Julio Jones. But overall, I think they had a pretty solid game. When you see the big picture from that game, Week 1 win against Atlanta, and going forward here against the Buccaneers, listen, I mean, yet again, you're going up against a big receiver in Mike Evans, coming off a very good game. I mean, the one thing I will say for Fitzpatrick, he has a good arm. I mean, he'll throw the deep ball, but he has to have time. And, Tampa Bay's offensive line did a good job last week, but now they're going up against, again, with all due respect to the Saints, a little higher competition on the defensive side of the ball when you take a look at the defensive line that they're going to be going up against this week. So the key for the Eagles this week defensively is to get that pressure on Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, the Eagles' lifetime have seen Fitzpatrick a couple times, not this particular group, but they faced him when he was a member of the Buffalo Bills, I want to say in 2011, and they lost that game. But at that point, the Eagles were 1-4, and the Bills were 4-1. So those are two teams going in opposite directions. And then they faced him some years ago when he was with the Jets, and they again on the road, and it was in Meadowlands, MetLife Stadium, and they came away with the win. The Eagles actually have never lost to the Jets in their history, so don't worry about the preseason games. I know Patriot fans are happy with preseason games, but you know. So the Eagles, in their, in this time when, in this period of time, when Fitzpatrick has been a starter with different teams, they've seen him a couple times, but not with this regime, not with this, core that they have right now. Obviously, they weren't a defending Super Bowl champ when they played him before, and they're, 1-1 lifetime versus Fitzpatrick when he's a starter. I know he's coming off a really good game and a very impressive game. It was also in a dome on a fast track in New Orleans against a defense that was pretty good a year ago. A lot of youth on that defense, though, on that defensive side of the ball. And I think you saw that, in that game. I mean, look, nothing against, not taking away from what the Bucs did. They put together an offense that was very impressive, probably one of the most impressive offenses a week ago. Where you have the quarterback throwing for near 500 yards. You have Deshaun Jackson, 2 touchdowns, although he's in concussion protocol now, so we'll see. Evans has a nice game. I mean, they balled. They put up Madden numbers last week. So it's a dangerous offense, but I think what made them a dangerous offense in that game is that Fitzpatrick was able to have the time to make those throws. He also, again, ran for a touchdown. He had 5 total touchdowns, 4 in the air and 1 on the ground. And he is a mobile quarterback. I mean, he's not the quickest guy in the world, but he always tends to make the most out of his runs, And he's a veteran. He's seen it all. So he is a dangerous quarterback that we're going up against. Anytime you go up against a veteran quarterback who's feeling pretty good about things right now, the way he performed this past week, and they're at home. It's their home opener. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Eagle fans in the crowd, though, but it's you have to atone for that. You have to, it's about getting that pressure, and it's hard because when you're going up against veterans, it's hard to fool them, with schemes because they've seen a whole lot, and he's been in the league a long time. But you can, it's not like he's unbeatable. You can beat him. You just have to get that pressure. You have to make him make mistakes. And throughout his career, he's kind of been a hit or miss quarterback. Some games he's real hot like he was last week, and then other games he's throwing the ball to the other team. So you got to get pressure on Fitzpatrick. You got to do as best you can to cover those receivers. If D-Jax plays, we know about D-Jax. We know what he can do. Even at this stage of his career, he's a dangerous receiver, as you saw last week. And if he does play, if he gets cleared with the concussion protocol and he's cleared to play, I know he wants to play. So if he's cleared to play, he's a dangerous receiver. Evans is a dangerous receiver too. So they have talent at the wide receiver position. We just played a team that has talent at the wide receiver position, and they did okay. I mean, they gave up yards, they gave up catches to Julio, but they didn't give up touchdowns. That was the key from last week. Bend but don't break. Same thing this week. I mean, Evans is going to make his catches, right? D-Jax, if he plays, he's going to have some catches, but you got to limit the damage. You got to keep them out of the end zone as best you can. And they were very happy in the end zone last week against the Saints. So you got to keep them out of the end zone. So, obviously, the Eagles have had some history with the Buccaneers over the years. Very interesting games. Some have gone our way and some haven't. Last time the Eagles played the Buccaneers was in 2015. November 22nd, 2015. And that was ugly. It was here at Lincoln Financial Field, and the Buccaneers won 45-17. And that was that ugly, ugly game with Sanchez at quarterback, of course, Mark Sanchez, and Jameis Winston's rookie year, I believe. And that was probably one of Jameis's best games really, if you think about his career to this point, he really balled in that game. Getting numbers right now, I mean, 19 to 29, didn't put the ball in the air that much, but 19 to 29, 246 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. And the other big game from that game, and think about it, the two guys who had the big games in that game won't be playing on Sunday. You had Jameis Winston and Doug Martin. Doug Martin, of course, now with the Raiders. I mean, 27 carries, 235 yards. He didn't score. He almost scored the one time. Remember, he was caught from behind. And his big run was the 84-yard run. And that's the one where he got caught from behind. I mean, that was ugly. And that was one of those games during the Chip Kelly era. I think it was, if I remember correct, it was Chip's second year. I think it was the first year I was doing this series and the season of the fan series. And I was at my buddy Jason's house, his apartment, condo, the captain. And I was over there, and we were watching this game, and it just, it was a train wreck. It was bad. So the last time the Eagles played Tampa Bay, it was not good. It wasn't pretty. But the last time they played him in Tampa was a win. And, of course, Nick Foles was the quarterback. Now, Nick was not the quarterback here. That was Mr. Sanchez. So, I'm looking at some of the, DeMarco Murray, it was his 1 year here with some of the names just gives you shivers, thinking about, Sanchez and Murray and that was one of those years to forget during Chip Kelly's years here. The first year he was head coach, they made the playoffs, and then after that it just got progressively worse and worse and worse, and he got rid of all those players. I'm so thankful. I know I've said this before. I am beyond thankful that there you go, that's better. I'm beyond it got dark there. I am beyond thankful that Doug Peterson's the coach and that they have the players that they do and the coaching staff that they do. And it's just night and day. Those years with Chip Kelly left a lot of scars. And I am just thankful we have a new regime right now. And in a 2-year period, we've went from being just a dumpster fire to a Super Bowl champion. And it's amazing when you think about it. It really is. It shows you the turnaround, that what a coach can do, what players can do when you keep players on a team that are talented. So, anyhow, so Tampa Bay, listen, the offense, as we know, put up big numbers. Their defense gave up numbers. It was Drew Brees, in New Orleans. So you're going to give up points to Drew Brees. We're going to play Drew Brees in New Orleans later in the season, as long as he's healthy, playing in that game. Defensively for Tampa, they're okay. I think it's a defense you can score on. I know we have some former friends there on the Buccaneers defensive line, Bo Allen, Vinny Curry. There's a lot of former Eagles on that team when you think about it. At least it seems that way. So, look, they're still trying to piece it together defensively. They have good players. Is it David? There's some good, talented players on that side of the ball, but they're still trying to find an identity. Like the Eagles, the identity. The defensive line, the leaders that they have, obviously Malcolm Jenkins and company. The secondary is very good. Playmaking middle linebacker, as long as he can stay healthy. Jordan Hicks. And, of course, as I said, the defensive line. That is the identity of this defense. And they have proven that with what they did last season and how they started this season. With Tampa, they still really haven't found that identity. They're still searching for it. Again, they have some very good players on that team, Pro Bowler, players, but they're still searching for it. And even last week, you saw they gave up, how many, 40 points. Both teams scored 40 or more in that game. So it was not a defensive game, whereas the Eagles were in a very defensive game, this past week. So Tampa's still searching for an identity on defense. The Eagles have one. The Eagles also, I know offensively they didn't put up big-time numbers, but they have weapons. They just, they got to be a little more consistent. I mean, Zach Ertz, a lot of drops last week. I don't expect him to do that again this week. The running game with Jay Ajayi and Clement and Sproles, the three-headed monster they have there, the offensive line. Again, the identity, as we talk about Tampa Bay searching for it still, the Eagles, what the identity is for their defense and also for the offense. The offense is the offensive line, protecting Nick Foles, and that's important. Because if you give Nick Foles time, he can make plays, as you saw in the playoff run last season. If you don't give Nick Foles time, he's going to make mistakes. All due respect to Nick, I think there's a place for him in this league. I really do. But I know his shortcomings, and I know he's not the most consistent quarterback in the league. He is for sections, and he certainly was in the playoffs last year after that first half and against Atlanta, thankfully. And he'll always have a place at the table because of that run, because of winning the Super Bowl and being Super Bowl 52 MVP. He'll always be remembered for that. But long term, not very consistent. Not a consistent starter. Carson Wentz, though, he's the guy. And again, I mean, it's so weird, because you have a quarterback that just won a Super Bowl MVP, but that he is not going to be the franchise quarterback. Our franchise quarterback is coming back from injury. But Carson Wentz is the guy going forward, And maybe as soon as week 3, we might see him. There's some rumors that he might start. He won't start this week. It will be Nick Foles. But maybe week 3 against Indy at home, it will be Carson Wentz back on the field, which is great. But yeah, Nick Foles, I mean, look, the offensive line, I think, played pretty good last week. There were some mistakes, there were some penalties, but besides that, I think they had a pretty solid game. The fact, again, they run a trick play, and it's Doug. It's Doug being, Doug's got a Doug. That's what it is. You're going to get these trick plays every now and then from this offense, and it keeps the defense off balance because you never know when it's going to come, but it's going to come eventually. They go for it a lot on fourth down, so it. I got to say, and right now, today's Tuesday, I'm still feeling good. I'm feeling good about this week. I'm feeling good about a win. I think Tampa scoring the 48 points, it's their home opener. They're going to be charged up for it, and they know it's like I said before, the Eagles are going to see everyone's A game. It doesn't matter who they play every week. They're going to get whoever they play their A game because they circle the Eagles whenever you play a defending Super Bowl champ, you circle that game. And so they're going to get Tampa's A game. Now, I will say this. I think Tampa Bay scoring the 48 points, they may come into this game, I don't want to say feeling themselves, but you know what I mean. When you put up that type of points and you're not an offense that's really going to, no disrespect, but, they're not going to do that every week. This isn't the greatest show on turf Rams, or the 98 Vikings, right? They're not going to do that every single week. It was one of those weeks. Everything worked. Quarterback was protected. They were indoors in a dome. I don't see them putting up 40 points this week against this defense. The Eagles have a much better pass rush than New Orleans. They're going to get to Fitzpatrick more times than the Saints could. And if Djax doesn't play, and I'm not saying I hope he doesn't play, I never hope injury for any opponent, even Dallas. But if he doesn't play, that's another weapon they don't have. I don't think they have a great running game, and I know that this defense takes a running game away from an opponent, so it makes their opponent very one-dimensional, and again, that leads to turnovers. I think this team can get some turnovers, and I think the Eagles can get the win. I really do. I think we can get to 2-0. I'm not saying it will be a comfortable game, a comfortable win. A lot of weird things happen in Tampa. I remember that game those years ago when Bryant kicked that, 60-yard field goal at the end. But, again, I'm kind of calling for another close game here. But I think the Eagles win, and I think the Eagles win with their defense. I think they get turnovers. They get the Fitzpatrick. I think Foles has a better game this week than he did against Atlanta. And, again, he knows how to win there. in Tampa. He's 2-0 versus the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. So I like the Eagles. I'm calling the Eagles to win a game. This game, I don't know exactly the score, but I think they could win by at least 10. I think it's at least a 10-point cushion for the Birds this week to get a victory. Well, that's going to do it for me. I'm at work today and filming this at work because it's my lunchtime here, and I just, I'm captaining the ship this week. Both my boss and other coworker are at a convention or at a conference rather, and I'm, the one in charge here. So I get to wear the boss hat this week. No, so this is actually, I'm at my desk here, and I thought I'd do this little impromptu vid for week 2 of Season of the Fans Season 5. And the Eagles are, of course, as we know, are off to a 1-0 start, and hoping to get to 2-0 with their first road game of the season. So to all the Eagle fans, Eagles Nation that are at that game on Sunday, have a great time. Represent us well as you always do. Let's get a win for our Birds again. And I guess the next vid I'll post for this series will be after the game. Well, I guess Sunday after the game from the man cave. I won't be here on Sunday. I'll be at home, but I'll have some post game thoughts for you, and that's gonna do it. I guess channel update. I mean, if I can call it that. My live streams for Madden or any gaming on the PS4. I do hope to have a live stream up for the Eagles at Giants Thursday night game, and I'm kind of thinking about playing it Thursday night. Thursday night football on Thursday night. So I'll probably have that up Thursday night, and then after that I might take a little hiatus for that until the NFL catches up to me because of the mistake I made fast going ahead way too far in the season. I'm up to, I think, what am I up to? I forget. I think it's like week 6 or whatever it is. Actually, I can look at the schedule right here. So the Giants game is, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, it is week 6. So I was right, week 6. So after I finish that game, in Madden terms, I'm going to be up to week 7, and we're up to week 2 in real life. And I would kind of like the NFL, to play those games the same week. I know I was trying to do that last week, and then I just fell apart. But I do hope to do that this year. I hope to play the game in Madden the week that the team is actually playing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little hiatus from it after I play this Giants game. And I know what you're thinking. Well, why don't you just wait till I want to play that game? So I want to play that game, and then the week 7 game would be the Carolina game, home against Carolina. So I want to wait until week 7. I'll play the Eagles-Panthers game, the live stream of it that week leading up to that game. And I think, try to keep it at that, play the game the week of the actual game. I think that would be pretty fun. I always want to do that, and I have too much fun with the game, and I play too many games. But I'm hoping to try to do that, as best I can this season. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. So anyhow, it's a bit of a channel update there for you. Live streaming gaming. Maybe I'll play some other sports though from time to time, maybe like basketball or baseball, or maybe even play the Madden 18 game or whatever, I don't know, but maybe live stream some other stuff for anyone who's interested. If you're interested in it, come join me when I play. A lot of times it doesn't go great, but just gotta keep trying. That damn tie. I still, that one still bothers me, but anyhow. That's going to do it for me. For now, I will see you all after the Eagles-Tampa Bay game on Sunday afternoon. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about another victory. And as always, let's go Birds. I can't be too loud here. I'm at work. So anyhow, let's go Birds. And I'll see you all after the Eagles-Bucs game.